Coming up on the NewsFeed, 4th of July celebrations turned deadly right here in Fort Worth. We'll have the latest on the police's plans to find a suspect. And a date has been set for Ken Paxton's impeachment trial. Plus, could sidewalk chalk be more entertaining than a fireworks show? It's 1 o'clock and the NewsFeed starts now. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on the NewsFeed. We begin this afternoon with a tragic mass shooting at a neighborhood 4th of July party in Fort Worth. 3 people were killed and 8 injured after shots rang out hours after the neighborhood's annual Como Fest. It is believed that 10 of the victims are adults and 1 of them is a juvenile. Information is still limited, but we do know they are using flock cameras that were installed about 2 years ago to find suspects. In a statement released Tuesday afternoon, Fort Worth police said that several unknown males were reported to have started firing into the crowd indiscriminately before fleeing the scene. 2 of the 3 victims have been identified, one of them being 18-year-old Paul Willis. Paul attended the event with his mother, Kadisha Weatherly, and his little brother and cousins on the corner of Horn and Houghton. Paul's mother was about a block away when shots rang out. According to Paul's aunt, his mother walked right by his body without realizing it was him.
There was people around his body, and they just left him on the street. Just left him, like he was just laying there. Somebody gave my sister a picture of him just laying on the ground, just dead. No cover over him, nothing. He's just...
Fort Worth police said officers shot and killed 2 men while investigating a call about illegal firework activity. Chief Neil Noakes said a police officer and arson investigator with the fire department spotted some kind of fight near the northwest side of the stockyards. The officer and the arson investigator engaged the armed men, then shot those 2 men. Police have not said whether the 2 men shot at the officers first or at all. Both men have died. Neither the officer nor the arson investigator were hurt. A Texas man has been found alive 8 years after he vanished while walking his dogs. He was 17 years old at the time. Anayeli Ruiz is in Houston with more.
Found alive after 8 years, Rudy Farias has been missing since March of 2015.
And thank God he's alive. I mean, this is one of them miracles that you don't experience very often.
He was last seen near his home, and just last week he was found here outside this church. Tim Miller was one of the dozens of people that have been looking for Rudy from the get-go.
We started out at his house where he disappeared from, where he was walking his dogs, and I'll never forget finding his backpack out in this empty lot, field and stuff.
And Houston police tell us they did get a call from family members in September of 2018. They had spotted Rudy living behind a family member's home, but HPD did not find him, and they could not provide the address for us. But after 8 years, a miracle. A Good Samaritan found him unresponsive outside this church. Neighbors say they saw when police showed up to the scene.
There was a person that were trying to wake him up. HPD couldn't wake him up, like he was completely out of it.
But police confirmed it was Rudy. In a statement, Rudy's mom said her son is now receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma. She said he's currently nonverbal and is not able to communicate with them, but she will share more details as Rudy continues to heal.
Rudy's family is excited. I mean, they are over the moon. They're excited, but they're also worried. You know, Rudy's not doing well.
In pictures released by the family, you could see Rudy has cuts and bruises on his body. As you can imagine, the family is waiting for Rudy to heal.
Suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton will not be taking the stand in his upcoming impeachment trial. An overwhelming majority of Texas House members impeached Paxton in May for alleged misconduct, including allegations he used his office to favor interests of a prominent donor. But Paxton's attorney is calling the trial illegal, absurd, and a, quote, sham that would encourage future kangaroo courts. Paxton is also accused of retaliating against whistleblowers and obstructing justice. The impeachment trial is set for September 5th. If acquitted by the Senate, Paxton would be able to resume his role as Attorney General. Going from the Texas Capitol to Capitol Hill, a federal judge has their sights on the Biden administration's social media influence. Plus, is West Virginia police spying on their officers? We'll have all of that when we return.
This fall, earn an art core credit that's fun and easy. There's a variety of dance appreciation sessions offered for 16, 14, and second 8-week courses. You'll learn the history and context of different dance genres, ranging from African, tap, modern, and ballet. The instructors are flexible to accommodate students' needs so they can successfully pass the course. Email Hyungjong or Najwa with any questions for Fall 2023 Dance Appreciation.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
In national news, the Secret Service evacuated parts of the White House on Sunday after agents spotted an unknown object on the grounds. Members of the D.C. Fire Department responded and determined the item did not pose a threat. The Secret Service says the evacuation was done as a precaution. President Biden was not at the White House at the time of the incident. A federal judge has barred numerous Biden administration officials and federal agencies from contacting social media companies about certain content. The preliminary injunction was issued by U.S. District Attorney Judge Terry Doughty, who is an appointee of former President Trump. It orders the agencies and officials not to communicate with the companies about taking down content containing protected free speech. The agencies listed include the Department of Health and Human Services, the Justice Department, and the FBI. West Virginia State Police are being accused of spying on female officers, including minors. A recently filed civil lawsuit alleges that male officers had a hidden camera in the women's shower and locker room for over a 10-year period. CNN's Bryn Gingras sat down exclusively with two female officers who are now suing the department.
Megan Talkington and Brenda Lesnet, active law enforcement in the state of West Virginia, their dream job. But now everything has changed.
I don't want my daughter to walk the halls of the West Virginia State Police Academy, not unless there's reform from top to bottom.
Both women now suing the agency that trained them after an anonymous letter written to top state officials, including the governor and lawmakers, went public in February, alleging widespread misconduct within the walls of the West Virginia State Police Academy, including a hidden camera system inside the women's locker room.
I was shocked to hear that happened. I was completely appalled. And the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Sitting here today, I still feel exposed. And I'm constantly wondering who's going to see me next, who has already seen me. It's very nerve-wracking.
Attorney Teresa Torreseva represents about 70 women who have similar allegations, including minors who took part in a junior program at the academy.
I don't know how in the world many things could be much, much worse than that.
The state doesn't dispute a camera existed. This is how Governor Jim Justice publicly addressed it in March.
There was 3 troopers that found a thumb drive. And absolutely from that, they found the video. And then, from what I understand, one, if not all, immediately jerked the thumb drive out and threw it in the floor and started stomping on it.
Justice replaced the head of the agency and pinned the act on a high-ranking academy official who died in 2016.
You don't think he was the only one responsible.
Common sense tells you he wasn't the only one responsible. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And it feels like you're blaming somebody who can't speak for themselves.
Torres Ava's team names 3 current and former state police employees who they say are responsible for the recordings in a recently filed civil lawsuit, the first in what will be a long list of similar civil action taken. There are 2 open state investigations. Where those stand, unclear. We reached out to Justice's office and the West Virginia Department of Homeland Security and got no response. The state police said no comment. Officials haven't reached out to the alleged victims either.
Crickets.
It's disheartening.
It is outrageous.
I feel like this hasn't been taken seriously. I think that there needs to be more investigation, more thorough investigation, and I think that we all want answers.
Bryn Gingras, CNN, Charleston, West Virginia.
The National Archives has concluded its review of classified documents connected to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It says 99% of the documents are now publicly available, which means a June 30th deadline set by President Biden. In 1992, Congress passed the JFK Assassination Records Collection Act that ordered all records be made public by October 2017, but multiple postponements were granted. For decades, conspiracy theories have swirled around President Kennedy's 1963 assassination here in Dallas.
It's all clear skies in downtown Dallas. I'll have everything you need to know for your weekend, plus your 5-day forecast next.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. If you love them enough to drive an hour to cheer them on as they get beat 11-0 in the rain, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Throw that ball, Diane. Woo! You got this. Welcome back to the news feed. Right now it feels like 89 degrees. Later today, expect a high of 94. Isolated thunderstorms and showers are possible later. Here's our weekend forecast. On Friday, expect a temperature of 97 and a low of 80. Mostly cloudy weather. On Saturday, expect a temperature of 99 and a low of 80. And on Sunday, we get back into the triple digits with a high of 101 and a low of 82 degrees. Here's the heat index. Some of you may not know what this is. Basically what it is when temperature and humidity mix together to make hotter weather than what it actually is outside. So say you have 50% humidity and 92 degrees. That would actually make it feel like a 99 other than 92 degrees. Here's the 5-day forecast. On Monday, we have a blistering hot temperature of 102 degrees and a low of 80. Tuesday, we have a high of 100 and a low of 80, mostly cloudy weather. On Wednesday, we have a high of 99 and a low of 82. On Thursday, we have a high of 101 and a low of 81. And on Friday, blistering hot temperatures again like Monday with a high of 102 and a low of 82.
Thank you, Anderson. During this time of year with the blistering heat, people deal with it any way they can. In this California city, walkers and bikers are getting a little relief without even knowing it. Theo Torres explains.
As the sun beats down on Elk Grove's Laguna Trail, a ride, run, or walk can become miserable, especially on this treeless section between Bighorn Boulevard and Elk Spring Way.
Yes, it definitely can get hot.
That's why Tiffany Atkinson and her troop of little ones do it early.
We're going on a morning bike ride to beat the heat.
But unbeknownst to them, this ride will be a little cooler. The reason why? Well, they're riding on it. It's called the Cool Seal Surface Treatment.
It goes down and covers the asphalt, protects it from oxidation, keeps it in good shape. This one happens to have pigments in it and materials that actually absorb the heat, or reflect the heat, I should say, not absorb the heat, and make it a little bit cooler surface.
Elk Grove is the first city in the Sacramento County area to use the high-tech coating, and many residents have already unknowingly experienced the difference it can make. Back in 2021, the city of Elk Grove installed this same surface at Old Town Plaza. As you can tell on this electronic thermometer, it currently reads about 91, 92 degrees. About 150 feet away is where the old asphalt trail begins. And as you can see, according to the thermometer, it's currently about 102 degrees.
So we figured this would be a good chance for people to come off of a traditional black trail onto this gray-blue trail and see if they notice a difference, and then go back onto another existing trail.
And they certainly are noticing.
This right here, it's a lot cooler. You can tell. I mean, even the sun reflection on this is not as bright, it's not as hot. It just makes a difference.
To this guy, and perhaps more importantly, his shoeless dog Melody. In Elk Grove, Teo Torres, KCRA 3 News.
This flamingo chick now has adopted parents. After its biological family abandoned it as an egg, keepers at the zoo say they monitored the egg in a nursery and then put it in a flamingo couple's nest. That nest belongs to birds named Florence and Freddie, who have taken the chick under their wings. They both feed the hatchling crop milk that comes from their digestive tracts. According to the British Zoo, the fluffy gray chick is now 2 weeks old and doing well. Coming up next, Ohio police take down a suspected robber and saves a man from a burning car. Keep it right here.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Need a ride? Yeah!
Driving with kids is a big responsibility.
Hop in and buckle up!
So don't sweat the small stuff.
You got paint all over our paper!
Get the big stuff right instead.
What does that mean?
Like making sure your kids are in the correct car seat and buckled up for safer travel.
That deserves a wiggly wiggly wig!
To make sure your child is in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Beep, beep. Yeah!
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
When this robbery suspect goes on the run, Ohio police officers look to their canine partners to track him down. John Atwater has the story.
This Middletown police officer is driving off the road for a good reason. He's setting up at the end of this street and getting ready to join a chase that's rolling down the roadway. Police are on the tail of a car connected to an attempted robbery at the Lemon Township Kroger just minutes earlier. Middletown police say Leonardo Alexander Cornwall is the 18-year-old behind the wheel of the vehicle. A dispatch report from the Butler County Sheriff's Office says the driver walked into the Kroger, grabbed some items, jumped in line at the store, and handed the cashier a note that said, "Put all the money in the bag or I'll shoot you. I have a gun." In the distance, you can see the white sedan police are after drive over one median before crashing over a second. With his car out of commission, police say Cornwall took off running near Middletown High School. While several other officers get out of their car and attempt to chase down the suspect, the one we're watching behind the wheel decides to keep the motor running. And while police chase down Cornwall, it's the four-legged officer who gets the takedown of the teenager. That's Canine Officer Bear coming into the picture, and after a few attempts, Bear has Cornwall on the ground. The teen was treated for a dog bite after being arrested by police. Cornwall is currently being held at the Butler County Jail, and the Clerk of Court's website says that he's looking at a first-degree felony for aggravated robbery, a third-degree felony for fleeing and eluding, a third-degree felony for receiving stolen property, and a couple of misdemeanor charges related to this incident.
Also in Ohio, police saved a man's life after pulling him from a burning vehicle when he crashed into a utility pole and lost consciousness. Police body camera footage showed smoke and flames bursting from the hood of the vehicle as the officer sprang into action. He was joined by 2 other officers, and they managed to get the 23-year-old man out of the SUV in time. The driver was hospitalized and faces charges of failure to control and driving under a suspended license. Police say he will probably face more charges. Alrighty, we'll have Jason up next with your Timeline Sports.
We are halfway through MLB's regular season. Our Rangers are sitting pretty in first place with a 3-game lead over the Astros despite dropping 3 out of 4 last weekend. The Rangers will travel to their former home of D.C. to take on the Nationals in the final set before the All-Star break. Some players will be on vacation. Others will be representing the Rangers in Seattle at the All-Star game. Texas has 7 players, with 4 of them being starters: Seager, Simeon, Heim, and rookie Josh Young. This has also been a big week for acquisitions in the Metroplex. Not only did the Rangers acquire all-star pitcher Aroldis Chapman, but the Mavericks made a big splash by re-signing superstar Kyrie Irving to a 3-year deal. The team also brought back shooting guard Seth Curry for his 3rd stint on the team. We can't leave out the U.S. men's national team, who defeated St. Kitts over the weekend, advancing to the semifinals of the CONCACAF Cup this Sunday versus Canada. And as the saying goes, I believe that they will win. For Timeline Sports, I'm Jason Holly.
Thank you, Jason. Netflix has announced their newest 10-part docuseries. It will feature Jerry Jones and America's Team. Netflix secured the rights to a documentary about the 1990 Dallas Cowboys. The report says that the deal has not been finalized, but the streaming service is allegedly billing $50 million for the rights to the series. The 90s Cowboys experienced glory on the field and plenty of scandals off of it. Coney Island has crowned their 2023 hot dog eating champion. Plus, where do you normally keep your ketchup? We'll have the poll results when we come back.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training on a Friday afternoon, and the very next day he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. You don't know how much somebody can hide what's going on inside their head. Store your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms. Thank you.
Go. Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
This fall, Earn an art core credit that's fun and easy. There's a variety of dance appreciation sessions offered for 16, 14, and second 8-week courses. You'll learn the history and context of different dance genres, ranging from African, tap, modern, and ballet. The instructors are flexible to accommodate students' needs so they can successfully pass the course. Email Hyungjong or Najwa with any questions for Fall 2023 Dance Appreciation.
Yesterday started a new era for Subway restaurants. The fast food chain will begin to freshly slice their deli meats near the counter. Most of its stores will prominently display a $6,000 slicer. The meats, including turkey, pepperoni, roast beef, and ham, will all be sliced several times a day. This brings Subway more in line with its smaller competitors like Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's, and Firehouse Subs. Cheese, steak, and rotisserie chicken will still be delivered pre-sliced. To promote the change, Subway is rolling out 4 new sandwiches. A lightning storm forced the delay of Nathan's famous international hot dog eating contest, but when the weather passed, no one could out-eat New York's favorite Joey Chestnut.
Everyone in Coney Island came to see people eating as many hot dogs as they could, not be stuck in the rain.
You live up for that anticipation all year, and then it doesn't happen, and then you're just like, oh, you know.
Everyone heard the thunder, then the rain poured suddenly, leaving the lunch table for the men's competition empty. For some, this was their first time.
We just came out of a pandemic. You know, we needed this, and they just canceled it, and I'm so excited. I mean, I hope they restarted.
The #1 ranked eater in...
It did once the rain subdued. The men came out to the stage ready to devour lots and lots of hot dogs and be crowned the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest champ. There was one eater many came out to see, though.
Joey Chestnut, win it all!
He won with eating 63 hot dogs last year, and the fans were hopeful that he would beat that record.
We were born in New York City. We live in Delaware now, so we traveled all the way from Delaware to New York to come watch us.
He won his 16th title, but with 62 hot dogs, just one under his record last year. The women's winner this year?
Mickey Sudo!
With 39 hot dogs, as the two champs stood together to bask in their victory.
Pass the ketchup, please. Ketchup maker Kraft Heinz recently weighed in on the issue, saying in a tweet, ketchup goes in the fridge. A day later, the company asked the public via a Twitter poll whether they kept their ketchup chilled or in the pantry. Over 13,000 responded, and more than 63% said the fridge. Nearly 37% said they preferred their ketchup in the cupboard. Forget the fireworks, 3D chalk art was all the buzz at the Delano, Minnesota's 4th of July celebration. Jonah Copland reports.
Delano's 4th of July celebration might be known as Minnesota's oldest.
Sit right by that piece of tape right here.
But there's something new that's really catching everyone's attention.
Put your hands up like you're getting a picture.
Something they want to capture for themselves.
It's really fun to get people involved because they remember it more.
Meet Sean McCann, a chalk artist for more than 20 years, who is literally adding a new dimension to his portfolio. The process starts with both print and digital sketches. The liquid chalk helps make it pop.
And then from there, I do some math and calculations of how big it's going to be, how it's going to come together. We're in a viral age to where people love to have those Instagram photos or TikTok videos. And so with the 3D street art that I do, it's something that you don't really know what you're looking at until you hit that magic point.
Look at that! The monkey's taking your picture!
Besides McCann, there are more than 20 other chalk artists who contributed some of their own masterpieces here on 3rd Street, right outside the festival. Yes, Tuesday's rain may be darkening or dampening some of the colors, but nothing can wash away their creativity. And McCann says that's exactly the point. He wants to inspire the next generation of artists by getting them outside.
We're working against Mother Nature, we're working outside, we're working with all the elements. And so it's more about the act of creating than the finished piece. It really is like celebrating your space and your town and your area.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Newsfeed this week, everybody. Make sure to stay safe and cool, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.